accident which claimed 15 lives.
Also this hour, organized labor begins 2026 base pay negotiations as government faces pressure to conclude negotiations ahead of the 2026 budget presentation.
A lot later, President John Mahama urges world leaders to take decisive action promoting gender equality and empowering women at Beijing Global Leaders Meeting.
News Central, I'm Kemini Amanor.
And I am Mawuena Egbeta. The news starts right now.
Now, the Ghana Maritime Authority has described Saturday's boat accident on the Volta Lake, which claimed the lives of 15 people, including 11 children, as a critical and unacceptable breach of safety standards. The GMA says the incident occurred around 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 11th, near Kete in UT region. A specialized team, including maritime safety inspectors and personnel from the Navy Task Force in Dambai, has been dispatched to the scene. The authority noted it is launching a widespread enforcement campaign across the Volta Lake to ensure compliance with safety protocols. The boat was carrying passengers returning from a funeral in Okuma in Bovime, both in the Krachi West District, when it capsized. Preliminary investigations suggest the boat was grossly overloaded, far exceeding its safe operational capacity. Let's have a quick chat with the OT Regional Minister, John Kwejo Japon. John, I appreciate your time with us this afternoon. Obviously, this will be a very difficult time for your region, particularly, the community of Kete Krachi. But let's talk about the lives that were lost to start with. What's going on with that? What's the plan? Have we been able to identify them? What can you tell us this afternoon?
Yeah. Thank you very much. And let me thank you for calling me on this issue. As of now, the story is that people from Okuma were going to Bededu in Krachi West for a funeral. And they lost, the boat capsized. And when the boat capsized, we lost 16 people, but we were able to retrieve 4 elderly people and another 4 children. In all, it means that the boat was loaded with 24 people. 24. 16 dead and 8 of them survived. That is the story.
Boat was overloaded. Yeah. How many people should the boat have carried?
Normally, the normal thing is that there shouldn't be more than 10 on the boat.
I
but
see.
It carried over 24 people. And nowadays, it rains very heavy, and the whole place is also flooded. So the current is very swift, and a lot of things can happen on it, especially when none of them was wearing the life jacket. None of them were putting on a life jacket.
Why were they not wearing the life jackets?
That is the story, and that is my concern. Anytime there's an education, either by NADMO, by our development partners, by NGOs, by the district assemblies themselves, by the MPs, a lot of life jackets are provided to these people who stay on the island on the Volta Lake. They do it, but never do you see them use it. Never do you see them use it. So, anytime anything like this happens, then there are serious, deaths all over the place because they don't use the life jackets.
Honorable, to the best of your knowledge, when was the last time these life-saving equipment were distributed to the community?
Very currently. Very currently, especially you had students from the university or from USP. A university was even in OT. They saw small girls, crossing the lake without life jacket. It was advertised, and we did a lot of education. The MPs bought life jackets, the assemblies bought life jackets, the NGO itself bought a lot of life jackets, and almost every time that the NADMO has just very recently has given a lot of life jackets to people who stay on the islands on the lake. The situation is that it is not like when you talk about the lake, people are maybe in the towns and then they go somewhere, do their fishing and then come back. No. Because of the intervention of the Akusumo Dam, there have been a lot of islands that have been created by the Volta Lake. And I can tell you, we have more than 100 islands on the... Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. So let's come back to the original question for this afternoon, right? Have we been able to identify the people who are deceased now? What steps have we taken after that?
Yeah, after that, we want to educate people to use a life jacket. And at least anybody who wants to stay on the island should know how to swim. At least the four elderly ones knew how to swim, so they were able to swim across. I think that it is important that we make a law that anybody staying on the island on the Volta Lake, if you want to stay on the island, then you should know how to swim. I think it's very important. And you should also make it mandatory that if you stay on the island, anytime you are going anywhere, you should put on life jacket.
Very well. John, hold on for me. Hold on for me. I want to move on to Mubarak Masawudu, who is the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority. And John, the Ghana Maritime Authority has responded to the incident. One of the things they are worried about is following safety protocols. Masawudu, again, your statement says this is wrong, safety protocols should have been followed, but who should be held responsible at this time? You heard what the regional minister has said.
Rightly so. Let me first of all extend my heartfelt condolence to all the bereaved families, the people of Kete and to all of us Ghanaians. Indeed, the loss of life, particularly when it involves children, really is unacceptable. That said, taking from where the regional minister left off, I think that this issue has to do largely with the human component of it and negligence. The Ghana Maritime Authority continues to take a number of steps to improve safety on our inland waterways. But you realize that, like the regional minister has said, boat operators would not provide life jackets to their passengers. And also, even where we understand there's provisions of life jackets, passengers would not wear them, citing reasons like the life jackets being uncomfortable and smelly and so on. So for us, I will continue to intensify awareness on the need to observe the safety protocols when plowing our water bodies. That said, I don't know if you've been following the media space. The Ghana Maritime Authority not too long ago deployed our search and rescue vessel called Mate Kole at Pando Topo to be able to respond to such incidences when they unfortunately occur. So largely would want to plead to the general public to all be custodians of safety on our inland waterways, political authority, our elders, and everyone should ensure that all these safety measures and protocols are observed.
I see. So Masawudu, so let's talk about those safety protocols, right? There should be people there ensuring those safety protocols are adhered to outside of just the boat owners. One of such people will be personnel from the Ghana Maritime Authority, correct?
That's correct. So
were your people there?
Okay, so you note that the Volta Lake area has so many communities dotted along it. Ghana Maritime Authority is present in almost every major landing site. You will find us. Now, when it comes to the very numerous island communities, you would agree with me that practically, really, you cannot put Ghana Maritime Authority staff in almost every community, especially the island communities, to be ensuring this. That is why it is very important that the public make our work easy for us. They complement the efforts that we're putting in to ensure this.
I see, Masaudu, I can understand what you're saying, but Ketekrachi is not just any island. It's not a small island. It is not a new island either, right? And so in this instance, we're both agreeing that your men were not there to enforce those safety protocols you are concerned about.
So Ghana Maritime Authority is in Ketekrachi district, is in Ketekrachi town. Now, these towns that you are talking about, island communities, yes, the Ghana Maritime Authority staff might not be on the island to ensure this, but Ketekrachi, yes. Not only is Ghana Maritime Authority present, we are also working with a Navy detachment that we've stationed there. So they are all there. So where Ghana Maritime Authority...
So Masaudu, again, I want to understand what you're telling me. Your people are sitting in offices?
No. So they are field officers. That's what I'm saying. Understand me that you don't address Ketekrachi district. We are talking about individual towns. And I'm saying that when you come to the district capital, Ketekrachi town itself, obviously you would find Ghana Maritime Authority staff there. But the individual small, communities, especially island communities, that becomes difficult. That said, we are increasingly taking more people there to augment already the staff that we have. But really, what would really help all of us in this situation is the public adhering to the safety measures and protocols. For instance, the boat didn't have even one life jacket. This is the obligation.
Okay, I think we've hedged that, Masaudu. And again, I want to understand. So in the Ketekrachi district, where are your staff members exactly?
Oh, within the Ketekrachi town.
In the Ketekrachi town?
Yes.
I see. And their job in the Ketekrachi township will be what exactly?
So basically, you heard the report that the boat was grossly overloaded. So the idea is that literally all boats should have load line markings. So a load line mark would indicate the highest depth which one can go with in terms of loading. So our staff there, one ensures that boats have load line markings on them. After that, then they ensure that the boats that depart from Ketekrachi town also would adhere to the load line marking requirements and requirements like safety jackets and so on. So they do that. But
so which means that if your people were there, one, the boat would not have been overloaded. Two, people without the life jacket will not get into that boat. Is that correct?
Again, you are not getting it. You are not getting it. What I'm saying is that they were there, but the many other towns that are dotted along.
No, I understand. But in terms of what, I understand that. In terms of what you are supposed to do at the banks, right? If maritime...
They flout the load line mark. So once there's a mark, the person would so flout it. So that then is the human aspect of the issue. Yes, the regulation is there. We are yet to get the full details of really what transpired because there is an accident investigation.
Very well. Just finally for you, Masaudu.
Yes.
Back to the initial question I asked about responsibility. Who should be held responsible for the 15 lives that have been lost?
No, definitely the operator of the boat certainly would want to know is he alive, is he dead. We are yet to get the full picture of it. There have been different reports that we are getting on the matter. So I wouldn't want to preempt the investigations of the committee. Let us get the details. I mean, you would bear with me that Ghana Maritime Authority broke
Very
this
well.
first. The same vein, we are committed to ensuring that the public gets the full details of what really transpired and committed to the safety of all of us, particularly our folks who live in and around the inland waterway areas.
I see. Masaudu, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for your time. I'll connect now again. Indeed, I'll connect now again with John Kwejo Japon, who is the OT Regional Minister. John, you had my interaction with the Deputy Director General for the Maritime Authority. He explained what their role is in all of this. How does it come to you, really? Hello, John. Well, it would appear that we do not have him at this time. But there you have it. The Ghana Maritime Authority obviously unhappy about the situation, but also unable to tell us really whether or not their personnel on the ground, one, where at the site, he says they can be everywhere. They are in Kete Township and the likes. Now, this is a story we'll follow through and bring you more developments in subsequent broadcasts.
Now, let's bring you a bit more in terms of our fight against Galamsey, because Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has reaffirmed government resolve to end illegal mining, otherwise known as Galamsey, in forest reserves and in water bodies. She was speaking during an engagement with the Ghanaian community in Belgium as part of her official visit to the Global Gateway Forum in Brussels.
So disturbing. All of us, especially my fellow women, we know what it takes to bring a child into the world. We know sometimes they are differently abled, but where we know that the challenges have been caused by things we can change, it can be even more painful. So it is not something that we take lightly at all. We are working towards banning mining in water bodies. We've been mining gold forever. How come all of a sudden all our waters were polluted? The water sources are normally in our reserve portions. And that's the reason why those areas are reserved forests. Now, when you give that to some who can even will it to his family, you all know what I'm talking about. So it becomes a family property. A bill is being prepared to reverse what we saw and to ensure that the people are moved out of these areas and properly placed.
Let's assess all of this fight following that meeting with government, and there's been quite a lot of action on the front of the fight against Galamsey. Professor Eric Keke Abavare is with the Department of Physics at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He is the UTAG KNUSC president and former UTAG national secretary as well. Prof, appreciate you joining us this afternoon. You've watched the space for quite a while. In terms of what it is that we're seeing play out in the fight against Galamsey, what is your assessment based on what it is that we're learning of, particularly from the government right now?
Thank you very much, Mawuena, and your listeners or viewers. Well, for me, there's only one metric for the assessment, if you ask me, and that if whatever interventions the administration is putting in place, the outcome is to see gradual progression and improvement of the stability of the waters. And again, to see maybe those trenches and then the holes and the pits are being covered. So far in the narration that have been going on, we've not heard anybody even saying, how are they going to reclaim the land? The land reclamation bit is quiet. The water is still the same. So, well, efforts are being made, but the effort, because the stability remains as it is, the conclusion is obvious.
There are quite a number of legs in relation to this fight, and you've mentioned one, which is the water turbidity levels. Then there is the treatment and removal of the heavy metals from the water as well as reclamation, even before we go into the main conversation of tackling persons who are still entering these forest reserves. On the priority list, which one should we be investing a lot more money into right now? We know that there's NIMOS, which is seeking to be in the forest reserves, amongst many other things. But there are those who make the argument that look at the water and the poisoning of our food as well.
Thank you. But you need life to pursue any agenda, right? You need life and you need good health as well. So for me, if you ask me on a priority list, every one of them is a priority. So we can concurrently be doing them. Concurrently, we can be doing all of them. We don't need to finish, you call it Syria. You don't have to do Syria fighting. You can do them parallel. Parallel. Parallel means that whilst you are fighting the water, doing the so-called utilization or whatever, you are also be claiming the land. You are also fighting the people who are also doing it. So you cannot do it. If you try to solve it one after the other, I doubt you can't finish. So you must do them concurrently. That's from my view. That's how I see the fight should be. You have to attack all the forces concurrently.
And concurrently, are we seeing that equal attention particularly being paid to the poison of the food and the treatment of the water as well? Because in all of the presentations we've got, yes, there's been in the last few weeks following that meeting between government and CSOs, a mention of what is to be done to begin to remove the heavy metals, but we haven't gotten specifics, details, timelines as to when this can be done.
Exactly, you just pointed out, we don't have, it's just in the conversation phase. We are only just talking and discussing, but I don't think there's any action plan. And how it is being done and how will it be done, what are the KPIs, what's the timelines. These things, I don't think they are part of the conversation now. But now, they are only just even discussing. We didn't even find the definition of the word to use. Okay, so if you are even discussing to find how to define it, then it means you've not just started at all. We are far, far below at the tail end of the normal distribution.
Right. Prof, I thank you. I thank you for speaking to us this afternoon. That's Prof. Eric K.K. Abavari speaking to us this afternoon. We're staying on the subject of Galamsey because we know that though government has called for a ban on all other task force groups, the National Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association, Ghana's anti-Galamsey task force, over the weekend stormed the Nyamedomso camp near Mankraso in the Ahafuano Southwest district of the Ashanti region to clamp down on illegal mining activities along the Mankran River. The operation forms part of the group's ongoing commitment to what they say is to promote responsible and legal small-scale mining while supporting the government's nationwide efforts to eradicate illegal mining on river bodies that continues to tarnish the image of small-scale miners. But is this getting the all clear from NIMOS? Let's speak to Pakwesi Shandov, who speaks for the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, as well as NIMOS for a bit on this particular subject matter. Pakwesi, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. A counter tax force, if we can call them that, by these small-scale miners. Is NIMOS aware of this to start off with, and what do you make of this, what they say is protecting and saving the image of small-scale miners?
Well, indeed, we are aware of this particular development. It is not new to us at all, in the sense that they launched and outdoored their operations, I think some weeks ago, and so for us, it is not a recent development. We do not want to have a duplicitous outfit, an outfit that essentially is mirroring what NIMOS is already doing. And so when they set out, we reached out to them for a conversation on how possibly we could collaborate, or they could rather collaborate with us. Because fundamentally, we understand the essence of their operation, their motive, and the thrust of their objective. It is all towards the collective goal of dealing with the menace of illegal mining. But one of the principal factors or reasons that has consistently militated against the fight against illegal mining is when you have too many splinter groups all but doing the same thing. And that is why we created NIMOS to serve as an umbrella outfit. So for the fact that now there is another body, entity doing, embarking on an exercise which regardless is commendable, you still wouldn't want such operations to fester as much. So we are in talks with them on how possibly all of us can align on one path and fight the menace of illegal mining together.
Talks, because some say this is in direct contravention of what the president told civil society groups and journalists some weeks ago, that all other task force cease to exist. Everything in relation to the fight against Galamsey must be routed through NIMOS because there were allegations of extortion and the likes. Shouldn't the recognized group NIMOS, which is expected to be in these forests to fight the activities of Galamsey, be asking them, stop what it is that you're doing and provide us the intel to deal with activities of illegal mining?
So first of all, the National Association of Small-Scale Miners is a private outfit. It's a private organization. I am not sure the extent to which anybody may perhaps issue an order for them to stop their private operations, especially when they indicate that it is a peer review mechanism they themselves have rolled out as part of their operational structures to ensure sanity within their space. And so you have to deal with the issue tactfully. And so that is why, in as much as perhaps we could just call the shot and say, hold it right there, we are exploring the option of diplomacy, interacting with them, being able to understand the rationale. Indeed, the rationale is actually very clear. All they want to do is to, as it were, help in the fight against illegal mining, which, of course, is our underlying objective already. And so the conversations have begun. Just last week, for example, I had the opportunity to engage the president of the association quite extensively on the subject matter. And so very soon there will be closure on it so that it would not appear as though there are two separate outfits doing, different things or even the same thing. Indeed, like the president said, all the power is vested in NIMOS, and I'm sure very soon this issue that is beginning to look like a hurdle would be promptly and properly addressed.
Right, quick one, Pakwesi, on an account on Twitter, I've chanced upon it, raising concerns specifically about encroaching of some forest areas within his village. Shared pictures, is drawing the attention of the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, the police, and the others that illegal miners are seeking to enter forest reserve, protected forest reserves, and mine. Has that come to your attention? And if others are witnessing such encroachment, how do they reach out and ensure that these illegal miners do not take advantage of their powerlessness, go into the forest, and destroy their livelihoods, which is farming as well?
So on a daily basis, we receive tons of information such as this. Every day, there is a grievance that is coming from somewhere across the country. And so this one adds up to that huge toll of grievances and concerns that we have been receiving all the while. The issue, however, is that NIMOS's operations and deployments are intelligence-led. And so the fact that it is notified of a development does not mean immediately NIMOS would deploy troops there. No, because sometimes the information that we receive, we realize that they are false alerts. Some of them are facades. Other ones are also distractions that actually are intelligently designed to sway us from the real locations where illegal mining is happening. So this particular development, for example, it is one that has been noted, but like I've briefly explained, when a development of this nature comes to our attention, the intelligence team would have to immediately review and ascertain the veracity of the concern before they're receiving the conversation about a deployment. So we have a list of, issues like this that have come. Some I do not want to say, but actually some are even self-inflicted. Some are staged. Some are huge distractions and all of that.
Right.
But there is a line that anybody who has such a concern can obviously call through to to make the information available. When we receive it, we'll review and take appropriate action. With your permission, I'll go ahead and mention it: 030 398 2151. 030 398 2151. That is the official 9 months line.
Numbers to which they can reach out. I just have one extra concern as to the review time period. And I understand that some could be distractions to throw you off so others could continue in their illicit activity. But there's a concern that in the review of such notices, how soon do you respond to it? Because by the time some will argue you'll be done reviewing, some of the machines would have entered the earth and begun to dug up before possibly you get to these locations. How swift is it of a response to ensure that we're not seeing that by the time you respond, environments have been destroyed?
This is a very valid concern, the speed to market. Indeed, when we receive it, we have to promptly respond and address the issue. But the momentary challenge that we are facing here is that, as we speak, we have not done the permanent deployment of the NIMOS task forces to the respective hotspots. Indeed, if we had done that, then it would have just been a matter of prompting the task force that has been deployed in the specific hotspots that we have already designated in our books. That would soon be done. But up until that is done, of course, there will be a brief, reasonable administrative delay with, reviewing of the information that comes through and all of that. But that should be cleared very soon, because like the Sector Minister, Emmanuel Amakofibua, mentioned on your platform over the weekend, the map-out plan for the deployment has been concluded. It's just a few I's that have to be dotted, and in a matter of days, we'll do the full deployment. Once we do the full deployment, now we know that there are task forces stationed at every hotspot. So when the information comes, it's just a click away. You notify them, and then they move into action.
Right then, Pakwesi, thank you very much for speaking to us. Pakwesi Shandor speaks for the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry and as well NIMOS.
Now, only 10 out of 63 water treatment plants across the country are currently safe from the impact of illegal mining. That's according to the Chief Manager for Corporate Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ghana Water Company Limited, Michael Teria Kluche. He revealed this in an interview on TV3's New Day with Roland Walker.
Ones that have not been affected so far are the Mount treatment plants and the Volta regional treatment plants. Volta region, we have about 5 treatment plants over there. More is also about, within the plant itself, we have more, about 5 also there. So in all, 10 out of about 50-something is what is safe now as far as pollution is concerned. The rest, from Wejam all the way to Western region, to Ashanti, to upper regions and northern regions and all that, all of them are having their fair share of pollution.
So you have 86. How many boreholes? 20 what boreholes? Please help me do that.
23
okay.
Of them are boreholes.
So when you do the deduction, you're going to have 63. 63
yes.
are the water treatment plants. Is that not, or systems?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you are saying that 63, it's only 10 that you can clearly say that on the operational side,
yes,
the water that is being pumped out of, or the water you're getting into your plant to pump out to residents are clean. Only 10 out of that 63. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But that's 90% of the country, right?
That is how disastrous we are. We are having problems, and when we talk about it, it's not as if we are exaggerating.
Subject of Galamsey, because organized labor is set to begin negotiations for the 2026 base pay. This year, government granted 10% increase for public sector workers on the single spine salary structure. With the 2026 budget yet to be presented to Parliament, government is expected to speed up the negotiations. Currently, discussions on the minimum wage has begun, but the tripartite committee has not agreed on a percentage just as yet. Let's get a bit more from our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Poku, who's joining us in studio right now. And Daniel, 10% last year. Yeah, Labour was not happy, but they had to take the president to be present for that agreement to come off.
Right.
What is the targets they are looking at, considering that inflation has come down this year, the CD has performed appreciably against the US dollar? Does that calm them in terms of the percentage they are looking for?
Right, well, Eric, when you leave organized labor to engage in these figures, actually they will present 100% figure to you. I do recall some years back, they presented 65 to 75%. But this time around, unfortunately, labor has not met. Organized labor, they have not had their first meeting. And the only meeting that has taken place, just one or two, has to do with negotiations on the minimum wage. Usually you negotiate on the minimum wage before you transfer to negotiate on the base pay. So when they negotiate the minimum wage, that's when they agree on the figures. And the finance minister, that will really inform your basis for meeting organized labor to discuss the base pay. So basically that's what we are told. Labor has not met, but the figures yet they are yet to agree on the various. But I would not be surprised if labor should present beyond 50% to government, and government obviously they have to negotiate and for them to meet a middle ground to agree on a figure.
Right. On the tripartite committee meeting for minimum wage, I know our minimum wage stands around 19 cedis thereabout.
Right.
What are the insider info you're picking as to the percentage we could see this increase by, considering that could inform as well the minimum wage?
Right. So usually when the minimum wage tripartite meets to discuss the minimum wage, they set up a technical committee within the tripartite. So the technical committee is here to present its report to the bigger body for them to agree. Somewhere last week, they had a meeting where a few issues were raised, but they have not been able to table a figure. When the technical committee meet, they look at the inflation, macroeconomic stability, and that key cost of living. All these issues come to play, all these factors come to play before they're able to agree on a figure. So hopefully before the close of this week, they should have another round of meeting and agree. I will not be surprised that it should go beyond 10%, because the minimum wage for this year, 10%. So this obviously tells you that there's a possibility they'll move a bit higher than 10%, hopefully around 15 or beyond 15%. But I don't see them getting beyond 20 or 25%. And that also will form the basis for the base pay negotiations. So if you're able to get, let's say, between 10 to 15%, then base pay will go a little bit beyond 15%. But unfortunately, this year, government agreed on 10% for the minimum wage and 10% for the base pay because the president stepped in. For this time, we are likely to see even that when the president came in, it even created some kind of disagreement between organized labor. There were those who felt that they were not properly informed. But this time around, I don't foresee the president coming in. Labor will be able to pave their way through for them to be able to reach an amicable solution.
Thank you very much, Daniel. That's Daniel. He is our Labour Affairs correspondent, providing details there for us as to what it is that we can look forward to in terms of the tripartite committee meeting that will inform base pay for workers in the year 2026. Now, President John Mahama has urged world leaders to take decisive and transformative steps to promote gender equality and empower women globally. Speaking at the Global Leaders Meeting on Women in Beijing, China, President Mahama said Ghana remains committed to building a more inclusive society where women play an active role in national development.
Ghana's Affirmative Action Act mandates a minimum of 30% female representation in public appointments by the end of 2026, 35% by the end of 2028, and increasing to 50% of public appointments for women by the year 2030. To further empower women economically, Ghana is establishing a Women's Development Bank to provide low-interest loans, financial literacy, training, and business development support to our women entrepreneurs. This initiative is designed to advance financial inclusion and expand opportunities for women across all sectors of our economy. Mr. President, the global order is changing rapidly, and it threatens to reverse the gains made by the Millennium Development Goals and the ongoing Sustainable Development Goals. The global multilateral order and our rules-based trading systems are being jettisoned and are giving way to more unilateral actions by some global players. In this unpredictable environment, we need to focus on safeguarding the gains made by our women and other vulnerable groups since the Beijing conference 30 years ago. The African woman is particularly vulnerable, and I wish to use this platform to call on my colleague African leaders to focus on the welfare and empowerment of African women. My country, Ghana, remains steadfast in its pursuit of gender equality and the empowerment of our women.
President John Dramani Mahama. He will take us on to our very first break here on the bulletin. When we return, we're in Blekusu because the Parliamentary Select Committee on Works and Housing is visiting the area to inspect the Sea Defence project. We'll get details from my colleague Armstrong Gold Alogbe. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's still News Central here on TV3. Let's bring you some other stories now. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Works and Housing is this afternoon touring the Blekusu Sea Defence project to assess the impact and level of destruction caused by tidal waves to residents living along the coast, particularly in the Ketu South municipality. Let's join Joseph Gold Armstrong Alogbe, who is with the committee and joins us with the latest on that. Joseph, what can you report from there? Well, I'm going to try again. Armstrong, if you can hear us, what can you report from this tour?
Kemini, currently we are here at Blekusu, where the Parliamentary Select Committee on Works and Housing are touring the site here. So far, we are told that the coastal line here, some 8 kilometers away, have been safeguarded with some 3 groins so far created. Talking to the contractor, he explained to us that so far the dangers, the coastal residents here, the danger is off, and they are hoping that in the next 36 months, they would be able to safeguard this place and also reclaim about some 100 meters of the coastal line. One issue he raised about the fact that some people continue to win sand, which is going to affect other coastal areas. I'm trying to get the chairperson of the Western Housing Committee in Parliament to give us some little details, what they've seen in some few minutes. Good afternoon. You are live on News Central. Tell us, you've been touring this site for some now.
Well, unfortunately, we are unable to get the full feed from where he is at this time. But if we do, we'll bring back that story. In the meantime, irate youth of Mamobi on Monday morning blocked parts of the road network in protest of its poor condition. The youth have vowed to compel duty bearers to fix the roads, which they say have caused them inconvenience for over a decade. George Queenan reports.
The affected road lies between Ayawaso East and Ayawaso North constituencies. Economic activities of residents have been greatly affected, with long commuting times becoming a daily struggle.
The recent rains on the 9th of October this very year have flooded this very stretch, and I'm reliably informed that an elderly woman actually broke her leg while she dipped her feet in this very pothole, which has been created on the road.
In protest over the poor state of the roads, residents blocked the stretch of vehicles on the morning of Monday, October 13.
We want the leaders, the politicians, whosoever is in high position to see that this is a time for East and North Ayawaso, for us to also have our cake. We did our part, which, as you can see the sun, when it rains, everybody here comes out to work. Make sure that the roads, we fix the roads. When it's bad, we come out and fix everything. But yes, still, these politicians are sleeping. Both East and North MPs, they are sleeping.
Because of the bad nature of the road, vehicles have to carefully maneuver going to their various destinations. And so it creates a lot of inconvenience and vehicular traffic on this very stretch.
The protest caused heavy traffic in and around Mamobi. Residents say they've been dealing with this situation for more than a decade. The sooner the road is fixed, the better, they insist. George Queenan, TV3 News, Mamobi, Accra.
Some more stories this afternoon, where applicants for this year's National Service are racing against time to complete the processes for registration following the reopening of portals by the National Service Authority last week. Payments to personnel and the registration of new personnel hit a snag following challenges with the portal for registration after investigations revealed the previous system was used to pile up ghost names to rip the state. With the deadline short, applicants are struggling with gazetting of documents for the service year period, forcing the creation of emergency centers in some areas across the country. The NSA says it is collaborating with the Ghana Publishing Company shortly to undertake the exercise as concerns continue to come through. Let's get some answers from the agencies on the progress of this intervention. Lantam Papanko is one of such individuals. He speaks for the Ghana Publishing Agency. Let's get a bit more from him in terms of what collaborative effort is being put together between the Institute and then the National Service Authority as well. Lantam, thank you very much for joining us. So talk to us. There's the concern, largely from a lot of these applicants, challenges of processing and gazetting. What's the collaboration to have this addressed for these applicants?
Right. So you know that usually when registrations like this are about to happen, there are various individuals who want to do their national service who have issues with their names and their dates of birth. Because when you look at the arrangement of names, spelling of names, and correct dates of birth and other things. These are essential details that need to be right on all your documents. And so usually people would require gazetting services of these names and dates of birth and what have you before they are able to register properly onto the National Service Scheme to be able to do their national service. Usually what will happen is that you would have to get a statutory declaration, go to our office, the Ghana Publishing Company Limited in Accra or Kumasi, or go to a post office. It will take you either 3 weeks or 3 days, or that's if you pay for Premium Plus, 24 hours for you to get it. But what the National Service Authority realized this time around is that usually these issues come up and it becomes an inconvenience for those who would want to register. And so they decided to collaborate with the Ghana Publishing Company Limited for us to bring a desk right here to the head office of the National Service Authority, and also at the National Service Authority's office in Kumasi, so that rather than going all the way to our offices in Accra or in Kumasi, or going to a post office to get your gazette done, you can get your details right there and then the gazette can be done for you, so that it doesn't have to be a long, tedious and cumbersome process for you. So this is the collaborative effort between the Ghana Publishing Company Limited and the National Service Authority to ensure that anyone who is registering for national services that needs gazetting services is able to get it easier than they normally would.
Right. Just talk to us about the costing, because you mentioned there was premium service, which, but these are applicants who are yet to receive their first NSS allowance. There's been that delay already as to when they were supposed to have registered and possibly should have started national service by now. What is the costing like, and are there considerations for them as to how they can go through this process as well, costing the main issue?
Right. So, I mean, there are some arrangements that have been made with regard to the cost to make it a bit easier for people to go through these gazetting services. You know, the Ghana Publishing Company Limited, we do charge for the gazetting services. If you are getting a regular gazette, that will cost you about 602 cedis, and you'll get it in 3 weeks. If you are doing a premium gazette, it will cost you about 1,200 cedis, and you get it in 3 days. If you're doing a premium plus, that will cost you about 2,000 cedis, and you would get it in 24 hours. But what we have done here is that we are offering a flat rate of 700 Ghana cedis for anyone who wants to do a gazette here at the premises of the National Service Authority. And that will get to you within a week. So that is the intervention that we've put in place, just to make sure that we are meeting the would-be applicants halfway to make the processes easier for them.
Right, Lantam, thank you. I think we'll leave it here. Lantam Papanko speaks for the Ghana Publishing Company Limited, and the subject matter we'll follow up on, particularly on national service, because the registration period is short and there are bound to be quite a number of challenges, as there's a new portal to have persons register, amongst many other things, but most certainly a topic we'll follow up on and bring you details of.
Now, President Mahama has directed the National Health Insurance Scheme to pay government subvention in the treatment of kidney patients to private hospitals undertaking the treatment of dialysis. The move has become important as government says it recognizes the financial burden imposed on patients who seek dialysis. Health Minister inaugurating the Ghana Medical Trust Fund board announced that the records of non-communicable diseases in the country is alarming.
I do solemnly swear in the name of the Almighty God. Do solemnly. We all know that the rate at which NCDs are killing Ghanaians are quite alarming. The statistics show that about 43 to 45% of our mortalities are attributable to NCDs. This is how scary it is. In fact, even if you move to the adults, it's even scarier. In fact, I'm told that 1 out of every 3 adults in Ghana has hypertension. And so there is the need for us to do something immediately about it. So the current arrangement for payment of dialysis is that if you go to public health facilities, we have a maximum amount of money we pay per session. That's around 499 until about 500 Ghana cedis. what we have realized is that there are people who also go to the private facilities. And so His Excellency the President has directed us to give that which is paid to the public facilities. So for example, if you go to private facility A and they are charging you 1,000 Ghana cedis, the government will pay the 500 Ghana cedis and you top up, to be fair to everybody. So the CEO for National Health Insurance has been directed accordingly to take up that challenge.
This Board of Trustees hopes that at the end of his tenure in office, we would have established the enduring structures, programs, protocols, and interventions which are required and necessary to fully realize the full potential of this groundbreaking primary health care program. However, as a board, this is virgin space. We recognize and appreciate that it will not always be a perfect picture. We expect to meet challenges as we go along, but we hope that, particularly those of you at the press, you support us in dealing with those challenges.
Now, management of the Keta Municipal Hospital is appealing to government for support to upgrade the facility from a primary healthcare center to a fully equipped secondary healthcare facility. According to management, the hospital has become a major referral destination for people in the municipality and beyond, requiring the hospital's upgrade to significantly enhance service delivery.
The Keta Municipal Hospital began operations in 1926, becoming the first hospital in southern Volta. The facility initially provided basic clinical care, maternal and child health services, serving the population in the municipality and nearby districts, including receiving patients from neighboring Togo and Benin. With time, the hospital expanded its operations to include general medical and surgical services, delving into a more complex medical and health services. Nonetheless, the hospital continues to operate under very old infrastructure and obsolete medical equipment.
Transition into a secondary healthcare providing facility. That means that we will need a cutting-edge technology as well as a conducive working environment for the staff to be able to achieve that. Currently, because the hospital is old, we have some major areas of the hospital that needs renovation. Major renovation, I mean. We are looking at the male and female ward and the theater and other places. The last time this hospital saw a major renovation and retooling was 25 years ago, and since then a lot has happened. We are also looking at the emergency room. Currently we have about 5 beds, which is woefully inadequate for what we do here, especially in terms of pressure. So we are looking at expanding it to, let's say, 10 to 15, so that we can be able to absorb the pressure that comes with emergency care.
At the launch of the hospital's centenary celebration, slated for 2026, the medical superintendent, Dr. Kofi Karikari, touted some key achievements while stressing the need for support from government to upgrade.
We receive referrals from facilities across the municipality and beyond. Please permit me to share our recent health indicators to the House. 2023 to 2025 half-year performance review. Our OPD per capita has increased from 1.4 to 1.7. OPD attendance has increased from 28,359 to 37,884. Admission has increased by 11.4%. Bed occupancy rate has increased from 43% to 67.4%. But the death rate in the hospitals has reduced drastically. Institutional mortality rate per 1,000 admission has reduced from 25.6% to 22%.
Well, that's our bulletin for you this afternoon. The start of a brand new week. We're back again tomorrow. I am Mawuena Egbeta.
And I am Kemini Amanor. We'll see you same time tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.